Ladies, I'm gonna be real with you. If you are ever in an argument with a guy, like literally over anything, like for instance, he cheats or something, and he starts crying, I am going to tell you 110% do not believe anything that comes out of his mouth. Because once he starts doing that, that is a manipulation tactic to make you feel bad, and he is going to try to victimize himself. He will try to display these emotions like he actually cares or he's going to change, when in actuality, this is just so he can play in your face even more. He's trying to manipulate you into feeling bad for things that he's done because he cannot own up to it whatsoever. This is like someone stabbing you in the back and then you picking the knife back up and then handing it back to that person so that they can stab you in the back once again. No matter how many fake crocodile tears he cries or how he says that he's going to change, no man will ever change. They will only change once you give them an irreversible consequence, in which it never really works out for the relationship that you're in. It always works out for the other girl that he's going to be with in the end. You see, the sad reality is a lot of them will lie to you or give you ultimatums because they know that it's going to make it harder for you to actually leave. They'll say things like, oh, if you leave, then I'm going to do this or that, or they are going to say that they're going to harm themselves, when in actuality, they're not going to do any of that. See, they're saying this so they can manipulate you into staying even longer. And once you decide to stay, then they are going to know how much that they can get away with again. And then they're just going to play you like a fool the second time, the third time, and even more. But y'all stay safe.
Hi ladies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to this channel, my name is Miss Kafue. So ladies, today we're doing a video about how men weaponize tears. And let me tell you, I've never thought about it in this sense until I watched these clips, and it really opened my eyes about the subject. Let me tell you, a man will weaponize his emotions, his tears. Like, the only time these men will cry is when they need you to do something for them or to change your mind, or when you've caught them doing something that is a deal breaker in your relationship. Like, that's the only time you'll see them shedding tears, and they'll cry like a toddler. And my advice is treat them like a toddler. Treat those tears like a toddler's tears. Anyway, hey, let me not even start here because boy, oh boy, do I have a story to tell. Let's jump right into this video and then I'll be back to give my take on it.
It is very common for an abusive man to think that a woman is just crying to manipulate him. I'm going to tell you why, and it is so much worse than you think. A lot of abusive men don't see women as fully human. To them, a woman's pain is not evidence of harm. It's just a control tactic. And that means that they don't have to care. They don't have to reflect. They don't have to take accountability. Now, there's no obligation whatsoever to change, but this is a really interesting double standard. His feelings, typically anger, that's rational, that's honest, that makes sense. If a woman feels anger or sadness, that's definitely exaggerated, right? That's made up, that's not honest. He sees it as basically kind of strategic, but what's interesting is the hierarchy here. The fact that he won't see her feelings as important or relevant, the fact that he sees his feelings as more important, that's more than interesting. It is literally a defensive move, because if he just sees it as manipulation, then he doesn't have to have any empathy or do anything differently. It's just yet another way for abusive men to avoid accountability. That sort of core belief that women are just playing the victim all the time, you see that most often in abusive dynamics. Yes, it's patriarchal. Yes, non-abusive men sometimes see it that way, but abusive men always see it that way. But here's the deeper layer, okay? Women's emotions are totally fine when they help men, when they benefit men, right? When women are happy, when women are subservient, that they love. They love when she's agreeable and calm. That's great for them. But I'm telling you, the moment that it disrupts their authority, the moment it disrupts their little perfect view of themselves, the moment it makes them hold an ounce of accountability, suddenly your emotions are manipulative and inconvenient and strategic. If women's tears were just for manipulation, if it was really just women trying to get power, it would work. Power gets results. Women's tears don't. When a woman in an abusive relationship is crying, what is it met with? Right? Mocking, dismissal, being told that you're being strategic and manipulative and playing the victim, eye rolling, anger, withdrawal, pissiness. Simply put, who the hell uses this tool when it never works, right? We just keep trying. It's been centuries of women just trying so hard and it never works, but here we are, just doing it again. These idiot men act like we benefit from crying. And I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but it's the same thing with false accusations. Women don't benefit from it. Crying in no way gives women some kind of edge. We don't get anything from it. All we get are accusations, and it makes us more vulnerable. And when we're vulnerable, abusive men attack even harder. If women could control men with tears, women wouldn't be hiding in their bathrooms, their cars, and their pantries to avoid their abusers seeing them cry.
Can I just say, don't get in a relationship with a guy that doesn't know how to react in an emergency situation. And I shouldn't have to scream at the top of my fucking lungs for you to listen to me.
Ladies, 2025 is the year of consequences. In the course of her video, she went into how he said, leave me here. Oh, how can I do this to the person I love? The way he is stressing you out and not allowing you to leave because you're choosing to stay. And you had to listen to the whole video to realize why this is happening. See, the house that's burning up, that's her house. The stuff that's being lost, that's her stuff. While he calmly and methodically took his time and packed everything that mattered to him, she was the one packing up their animals and the car and doing all the labor that didn't impact him. He made sure his stuff got out just fine. Y'all are gonna say I'm mean, but I'm here to save lives. This didn't start today. He was doing all that because he hates her. How can you be in the path of a possibly fatal disaster and not care about what happens to your partner? They're having such disparate reactions because they're not in the same place. She's worried about someone she loves. He's enjoying torturing his victim. Ladies, please take off the rose-colored glasses because everyone on the whole internet can see that this man hates his partner. I wouldn't let a stranger be sitting, crying, screaming, frustrated, traumatized, triggered about something I had control over if I genuinely didn't care one way or the other. But he cares a lot about making you miserable. He doesn't not care. He doesn't think the firestorm that is on every news station in the country isn't that big a deal. He just enjoys torturing you more. Think about that. She's so in love and can't leave behind someone who would risk his life to enjoy her pain. How does the old quote go? No more warnings, the fire next time? This is the literal fire. And notice how he had a supporting cast of women who have not decentered men. Her own mother was telling her to calm down rather than get out. If your mother would tell you to go along with some idiot, your mother, like, y'all can't see me, but I'm sitting here drumming my fingers on the side of my head. This is why I'm preaching to you all 24/7 about getting women who are male identified out of your life. Because part of this woman's problem is her mother. If your mother doesn't care enough about her child's life to say, leave whoever you have to leave, save yourself, get down the mountain because anything could happen. The fire could burn a lot faster than people think. What if you get caught in a path? What if the traffic is too strong? What if the road gets cut off? Once those fires start blazing out of control, no one can help. Do you think I would tell my imaginary daughter, go ahead and sit there and wait for this idiot to get his life together? Oh my God. I keep telling you all this is life and death. Maybe now you all can listen. You're out of time. There's no more time to play patty cake with women who would rather center men. There's no more time to pat them on the shoulder and send them videos and hope they draw the right conclusion. It's time to run. As far as we know, this woman has escaped by the skin of her teeth this time. That's 2 natural disasters, which is par for the course because more and more extreme weather is coming. This week, on one side of the country, there's a polar vortex, and on the other side, there's a raging inferno. 2024, there were massive hurricanes. Can you imagine what the hurricane season is going to look like this year? And within all of these, the microcosm of men. All these women putting up videos. My husband didn't bring any groceries home, or he brought home hot chips and Funyuns, knowing the kids are going to be out of school for days. Oh, he won't leave. He won't pack up the horses. He won't pack up the cats. He won't do this. He won't do that. Do you want to live or don't you? We're out of time for this. If women are sharing this, hopefully it's to raise awareness, because enough. I made this video as a demonstration to show you all where you're going to be if you don't listen. If right now, today, you have friends who are encouraging you to get over it because your man left you stranded at your job and he drives your car around, he didn't do what he said he was going to do, he never buys the groceries, never cleans around the house, they will be telling you to sit there, just wait till the man decides he's ready to lead you out of danger, okay, until you drown or catch fire. As applicable, depending on what part of the country you're from. If you would like a different outcome, do something different. That's it. Like and follow for more.
So there was the first couple cries because I hadn't witnessed the crying because of happy tears yet. Like that took time in our relationship to come about. Mm-hmm. That was something I had to learn.
You're right. We don't scream and yell at each other and all of those kinds of things. I do cry during conversations. That's one of those things that my body just does the same way as the emailer. Cry over stupid things.
Right.
Things that make me happy. I will think about a memory and make myself cry. In those conversations, though, I am not elevated. My body's just leaking. It's a physical purge of my body processing what's going on in the moment. And you don't get frustrated with me about it. I'm not throwing it in your face, you made me cry. It's just what's happening right now. And you've gotten to a point where you understand that I'm not upset because I'm crying. It's just something that my body does.
Right, but you, like you said, you cry while you're happy too.
Yeah.
The first time you cried in front of me, I was like, fuck. Here we go. That was my honest, like, internal reaction. Like,
wow,
she's about to manipulate me with tears. Because I don't like seeing women cry. Like, it's a hard thing for me. And that is a go-to thing for women because they know that men don't like to see them cry. There are a lot of women out there who can make themselves cry on contact, like just to do it. Mm-hmm. And it is a form of manipulation. But seeing you cry over all the other things that you cry over, I know that it's just a visceral response from your body, and that's the way that you deal with things. If you got hysterical and started crying and calling me names and throwing shit and being irrational and like being like a bad 90s movie, mm-hmm. I wouldn't deal with that shit.
Yeah.
So there was the first couple cries because I hadn't witnessed the crying because of happy tears yet. Like that took time in our relationship to come about. Mm-hmm. That was something I had to learn.
Us men can react heavily on emotions and we're not good with emotions. Then we make dumb decisions, and that's what I've done.
What Adrian wanted to say is that most men weaponize emotions as a way to excuse their behavior and paint it in a way that they never had someone that allowed them to express themselves fully, but had no issue expressing anger, misogynistic views, sexism, when they jumped on the first opportunity to do so. And we see countless of times where we see people, and specifically some men, say that they can't communicate, they can't express themselves, which why should marginalized communities and women be at the expense of that? Why can't some of you just go to therapy? The reality is that emotional repression within men is very real. And it's certainly not society's job for them to educate you about how to better handle your emotion, because you want a free pass to treat others people like shit and be misogynistic and hateful.
Recently read a book where it was talking about how a lot of men get aroused when women are upset. So when you cry, when you're angry, and they will intentionally do things to invoke those feelings in you because they feed off that. And when you become aware of this, you give them literally nothing. Not a tear, no anger. It will frustrate them more than if you were to lash out at them. Even when you're at work, even when it's whatever setting it is, you give them nothing because they feed on the emotions that you give them. You ever heard men say, you look so pretty when you cry, or you're so cute when you cry? That, especially after they do something to hurt your feelings. I also think in that book, it was talking about the importance of not showing emotion at work because it could cause your boss or male colleagues to look at you in a way that you don't want them to look at you. Being too passionate on subjects and et cetera, popping your neck and stuff like that, having attitudes, that stuff feeds them in the wrong ways. So you have to give them nothing. Save your emotions, your vulnerabilities for the people that are in your inner circle. And once you understand that a lot of them are like getting off on this, you'll realize why so many of these podcasts, why so many of these shows, why so many of these rage bait comments are happening. It turns them on. It turns them on. They like it. There was also a discussion I was having with another woman of color, and we were talking about why men like Latinas, why they fetishize them specifically, amongst other women, not just them. And a lot of things we hear men say is that they like Latinas because they're feisty. They're spicy. They'll cuss you out and give you all the things, and they like that, which is why a lot of them fetishize them. It's sick. The bitter, angry black women talk, as much as they demonize that, a lot of them like it. And one of the women who were a part of that conversation, who was Latina, realized that she was giving too much emotion. She began to pull back, decided to not feed into that stereotype because it benefited nobody except the men that were trying to do or invoke these feelings to satisfy their own flesh or their desires, their fantasies in their mind. Don't argue with men. Don't go back and forth. Just none of that. You have to learn how to communicate, especially if you're already married. Arguing with them, that's not going to get anywhere. It's feeding something, just not what you think it's feeding. Yeah. But once you realize that, you'll stop giving men the time of day with fruitless conversation, with rage bait comments, rage bait topics. You just won't do it because they're getting off on it. And then they go back with their homeboys to talk about the conversation they had with you to relive it because they're still getting off on it. It's very sick and demented. And it's a shame that women have to show no emotion in the workplace to protect themselves from being seen in a lustful way. And I would love corporate girlies to comment on what their experience was like with that, or if they've ever experienced that. I would love to hear that moment where you realize okay, my boss is looking at me this type of way, or my colleague is looking at me in this type of way. And the moment that hit for you. This is also another reason why men will intentionally invoke unwanted emotion in you in order to have makeup X. And I've heard that from a man. He thoroughly enjoyed arguing with his partner so that they could have makeup X. That it was better when she was upset with him. So he would intentionally do things to make her angry because it benefited him. And he fed off that. Yeah. Give them nothing, ladies. Give them nothing.
Yes, men crying in response to being held accountable, like this video that this comment was left on. This is one of their new top 3 favorites. It's one of their favorites. And the reason they think it works is because of men's mental health, right? Everyone's talking about men's mental health and the male loneliness epidemic, etc. And so they think that anytime they express an emotion which goes counter to what they think a masculine expression should be, they're like, I'm opening up to you women, and you're not even taking it seriously. It doesn't count when you're using it as a manipulative tactic, like men who threaten to unalive themselves when their partner tries to leave them. You can't say, you don't take men's mental health seriously because you won't stay with me because I threatened to unalive myself. No one is responsible for anyone unaliving themselves, but you are responsible for your behavior when you use that as a tactic to try to force somebody to stay with you. That's called coercive control, okay? Just like in this situation with Jordan. Jordan had every right to be the one who came on and expressed her emotions however she wanted to. She showed enormous maturity and grace and level-headedness. His response is pure manipulation because they know that there's this whole conversation about men's mental health going on. So when men get in my comments like, women don't take men's mental health seriously, go back and watch this guy and you'll know what we're talking about when we tell you there is a difference between genuine mental health concerns that men express and how they use it to manipulate us.
So you're telling me Edmund, the same man who's walking around with a pick in the back of his head, the same man who made a costume or outfit out of toilet paper, the same man doing all this and doing all that, you mean to tell me you gonna let him sit in the bed with you talking about, oh, I can't believe we not having sex and I can't believe you're gonna make me wait 4 weeks to sleep with you, even though I'm giving you my all and even though you've had sex with other people? You gonna let that man sit up in there and start crying, weaponizing, being manipulative, if you ask me. And honestly, it goes to show that it doesn't matter where somebody is on the spectrum of things. When somebody wants to be manipulative, they know how to be manipulative. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out why I'm still seeing flashes of what's to come, and KB is still with Edmund. After that stunt he pulled in that bed of crying like that and pretty much calling you a slut. With rational brains understand that, yeah, she's treating you different because she wants to marry you. She is treating you different because she wants something different from you. But he's not able to comprehend that clearly. But yeah, she should have left him in that bed. I would have got up. When he started screaming and crying, I would have left. Additionally, the people who let him on the show, y'all are not going to see the pearly gates. The people who had a conversation with him, did his interviews, did his screenings, and still decided to press go, you're not going to see the pearly gates. I'm telling you right now, make the best of the time you have here on earth. Because you will have to pay for your sins.
The day he realized I was leaving, he cried. Now, over the course of the 2 years, not a single tear was shed about me or our relationship. But now he had rivers. He begged. He said he'd change. He talked about all the things we didn't do together. He talked about how he would treat me right, how he couldn't live without me. And I remember just looking at him like, who the heck is this man? He showed no emotion but anger the entire time we were together. He was cold, cruel, and mean. And now he was crying and sobbing like a baby. It was funny in a dark way to watch a man who has spent years tearing me down, crying a river of tears the moment I found my strength. But that's the trick. It's not love, it's manipulation. They want to control your emotions because it's not about losing you, it's about losing access to you.
If those white tears come out, specifically when they are unwarranted, you need to check it each and every time. One of the reasons I have such a strong stance on this Michaela Simone Biles thing is because I have been on the receiving end of weaponized white woman tears. Y'all can let me know if you want to hear the full story, but essentially something was done to me and this woman came to quote unquote apologize to me. She wanted to speak to me right then and there on the spot. I said, hey, you know, I can't speak right now. This is in front of my team. Let's talk later. But honestly, we really don't have anything to speak about. I'm good. There was no tone, no attitude given. To me, no issue until I get a call stating that this person had gone downstairs and started breaking out crying in hysterics. When my boss had saw her openly crying downstairs, he had called me and demanded that I apologize to her immediately. When that sort of thing happens, you need to call it out immediately, and you also need to call them out and ask them, what is it about our interaction that brought you to tears? Because 9 times out of 10, they won't even be able to articulate anything because there was nothing that happened. When you address them, you need to use very specific language. For this girl in particular, I had to pull her to the side and say, what about me telling you that I couldn't speak to you in that moment brought you to cry? She tells me, I wanted to speak to you right then and there, and you told me I couldn't speak to you. With that, I had to tell her, you were trying to speak to me about a situation that took place between you and I, but you wanted to have this discussion in the open, number one, and you also were doing this in front of my team members who had no awareness about the situation that transpired between the two of us. Asked her again, what about that interaction of me telling you, hey, this is not the best setting to have this conversation, and also, you know, it's not really needed on my end. What about that led you to become emotional? After me pressing her on what led her to openly cry, she really had no excuse for going downstairs and crying other than what she knew the perception would be. And I tell you, that's when I laid into her professionally, because one of the mottos that they used to say at this office was perception was reality. I had to ask her, did you as a white woman going downstairs after speaking to me openly crying after we had a conversation understand what the perception of you coming downstairs crying in the open would be? Immediately I get that was never my intent. I just was so emotional. But again, you had no reason to be emotional. We've already discussed that and cleared that up. So with that, knowing that they say here perception is reality, did you understand the ramifications and how that would reflect back on me? Let me also add in that when we started the conversation, Miss Thing came with tears in her eyes, but as I pressed and asked the questions that needed to be asked, oh honey, those tears disappeared. This wind is jacking my hair up, but I ended that part of our conversation by asking her, so do you think that I need to be apologizing to you? Do you think that's warranted? Or did you want to give me the apology that you originally came to give me? When those tears come out, hold them accountable and hold their feet to the fire.
I'm sorry, I do not support the idea that men don't allow themselves to cry. I've met plenty of men who allow themselves to cry when it suits them. I've had plenty of men over the course of my life who have emotionally terrorized me, not given a single shit about my tears, but when I'm standing on business, suddenly it's like mommy spanked you. Suddenly the tears are there. Suddenly we're emotional, we're soft, we can talk about our feelings. I've had more men weaponize their tears than I have women over the course of my life. And the thing is that men weaponize their tears because we know that's what we want from them. We know that we want them to cry, we want them to feel their emotions, we want them to talk about their feelings, but they only do it, again, when it suits them, i.e. when a woman is on her way out the door. And then when the male tears come, we as women assume that they genuinely feel bad about their behavior because we would cry if we felt bad about our behavior. And so it softens us. And this is why I encourage women to stop folding when men cry. I need you all to remember in that moment that that man was not crying when he was breaking you in half. That man was not crying when he was yelling at you. He was not crying when he was calling you names. He was not crying when he was hitting the wall next to your face, but not quite your face. He was not crying when you were telling him that you don't feel like a real, valid human being in his presence. So understand that his tears mean nothing. And you might say, how can a man cry on command like this? They're emotionally repressed, honey. They're always on the verge of tears. It's just that you standing on business and walking out the door and them being faced with potential abandonment is kind of what allows the pressure to release. And this is where I will encourage women to handle men's tears the way that they would handle a toddler's tears, right? Hey pal, I know you're having big feelings about the consequences of your actions right now, but that's not going to change the consequences of your actions.
Let me tell you, the only reason men believe that when a woman is crying, she's trying to manipulate them is because when they cry, they don't cry to express or to release emotions. They cry to manipulate women. That's the only reason they believe that as a woman, when you cry, you're trying to manipulate them. And it's true what has been said in this video, that if women could control men with their tears, they wouldn't be hiding from abusive men. Think about it. Let me tell you, in my former relationship, and boy, oh boy, do I have stories to tell about my former relationship. I think it represented everything that is a cautionary tale on this channel. That's why I opened this channel, because I dealt with so much. And I used to ask myself, is this even normal? Like, are other women in this world experiencing this, or am I just crazy? Because it was too much. The abuse was too much. The manipulation was too much. Let me tell you, the only time that man would cry is when I would catch him cheating. That's the only time that man would kneel down and cry. It was the only time he would cry. I've never seen him cry, even when our son was born. Like, never. I didn't even see him cry when his uncle, who was like a father to him, died. Never. But the only moment he cried are the times whereby I caught him cheating. And I remember at that time when, like, the relationship was over. Like, you see, when you're in this period whereby you know the relationship is over, but you're not yet physically over. I remember he used to, whenever he will get drunk, he used to threaten to unalive himself. He will get a knife and threaten to unalive himself even in front of our son, and then start telling me, you guys will just be fine. You and my son will just be fine. Like, he was so stupid. He was so crazy. We had to call a man neighbor to come and hold him down and talk to him. Like, it was always drama. It was always drama in that relationship. Please. Like, there are things that I don't even like to remember, but I remember them when I do such videos. That is also a form of manipulation. I didn't know about that. Like, that is a form of manipulation. They want to see what you do. Oh my God. And most of these men who are like that are the type of men who will even drive you to the point whereby you feel like committing suicide anyway. It's very crazy, by the way. Let me tell you, never take a man's tears seriously. Take them like a toddler's tears. They can never take accountability for what they've done to you. That's why they start crying like toddlers. We've seen in these videos that I've done about how women caught their men cheating. You see how those men react. Like, they cry, they roll on the ground. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. You'll never see them react like that even if their mother died. The only time they react like that is because they feel like they are losing access. They are losing control. That's the only reason they're crying. And I wish someone told me this like years ago when I was going through this nonsense. I wish someone told me this. But deep down, I knew something was not right, because you've never seen this person cry, and today is the only day they pretend to cry. Like, it's crazy. When you try to talk to them about something that's really disturbing you, they give you a deaf ear. But whenever you catch them, that's how they behave. Hey, it's crazy. Don't deal with men's tears. Don't believe anything that comes out of their mouth whenever they're crying. And always remember that a man will risk his life to cause you pain, to hurt you, to harm you. Men will go such lengths. They'll even hurt themselves just to see you hurt, just to hurt you. They're even ready to go to jail just to see you dead. Always remember that. Like, they're never willing to do anything to make you happy, like to even try, but they're willing to go lengths to harm you. And most of these men are aroused when you're in pain. Watch how a man behaves whenever you're in pain, whenever you're talking to him about something that saddens you or something that is done. Watch how he reacts to your pain. That will tell you everything you need to know about this man. Most men are aroused by your pain. Most men like when you're lashing out, when you're crying, when you're angry about something, especially something that they've done. They are very happy. They're very happy at that time because they know they got you under control. They think that you crying, then like now they got you under control. It's all about control for them. It's all about like, I'm so deep in her mind, like I'm disturbing her this much. But whenever you're unbothered, these men become so bothered. They become so bothered. But whenever you're bothered, they be so unbothered. They don't care. They know, I got her hooked. I got her where I need her to be. You see, that's how they reason. So ladies, please love yourself, protect yourself. Don't believe anything that comes out of a man's mouth, especially if he's crying. Don't believe anything of that, anything he says, and you'll be good. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed it too. Have a nice day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.